It all begins a few years ago, where a man and his wife both lived in peace and harmony, eagerly awaiting the birth of their first child. But one night, a blinding light flashed through the window, followed by the terrifying screams of people outside. Gripped by his worst fears, the man quickly woke his wife and filled the bathtub with water. This is a memory that haunts the man, who now lives in a devastated world with his son. He doesn't remember who caused this destruction. He only recalls that in the following days, dozens of earthquakes shook the entire earth. As a result, forests, animals, and plants perished, leaving only a few humans behind as the world slowly lost its life. For the man and his son, all that remains is to walk the endless roads, scavenging whatever supplies they can find while avoiding the gangs that prey on survivors. At night, they camp near the woods, and the man tells his son stories before sleep. Suddenly, a massive fire breaks out in the area, forcing them to flee. Along the way, they find a stable and search for food, but they find only corpses. Despite the horrific sight, the father tells his son that this happened because some people couldn't bear the changed world and chose not to live in it. He tries to comfort his son, but he fears that sooner or later, he might have to make the same difficult choice. Because of this, he carries a revolver with only 2 bullets. After leaving the stable, they spend the night in a car, but their sleep is soon shattered by the sound of an engine. A large truck arrives, carrying a gang of men armed with various weapons. The father quickly tells his son to hide in the woods. However, one of the gang members wanders into the brush for his own needs and spots them hiding on the ground. In response, the father aims his revolver at him and orders him to stay quiet, threatening to shoot. The man tries to save his life by talking, claiming there is food in the truck and suggesting they travel together. But the father doesn't trust him. He knows these gangs don't just rob travelers, they hunt humans for food. The situation grows tense until another gang member finishes repairing the truck. The sound of the engine starting distracts the father for a split second, which is enough for the man to grab the boy and threaten him with a knife. Without hesitation, the father shoots the man in the head. The sound of the gunshot alerts the entire gang, and they come charging into the woods. Lifting his son onto his shoulders, the father runs through the trees at full speed and hides near a lake. Hours later, the gang gives up the search. The father wipes the blood from his son's face as the boy cries from the terrifying experience. Despite the trauma, they must keep moving. While searching for food in the forest, the father gives his son the revolver, which now has only 1 bullet left. That evening, they light a fire by the lakeshore, and the father calms his son, explaining that there are bad people in the world, but they must fight for their lives without hurting anyone. The next morning, they continue their journey and find a can of soda in a vending machine. The father gives the can to his son, who had never tasted such a drink before, and the boy shares it with his father. Despite this small moment of comfort, they continue to search for food but find nothing. Failing in their search, they rest in a truck stopped on the road. There, the son says he wants to be with his mother. This triggers memories of the man's final moments with his wife when their marriage was on the brink of collapse. His wife had urged him to use the last bullets in the revolver to end their suffering, but he refused, willing to do anything to survive. His wife, however, could take no more. While their son slept, she decided to leave. The husband tried his best to stop her, knowing that leaving the house would be her end. But she simply said, "Take our son south." Some believe there is food and good people struggling for life in the coastal areas. Despite his tears and pleas, she walked into the darkness and was never seen again. The next morning, the father wakes up and looks at a photo of his late wife in his wallet. Facing the tragic reality that she left them, he takes off his ring and leaves it on a bridge. He then takes his son to a waterfall to show him something new, a rainbow the boy had never seen before. After bathing in the lake, they move on and spot a large house in the middle of a field. Inside, they find shoes scattered in a room and a locked door on the kitchen floor. Suspecting it's a cellar where the former owner kept supplies, the father brings an axe from the shed and breaks the lock. Inside, they find a dark basement stained with blood. To their horror, they see several wounded people, some with missing limbs. They realize these people are the food supply for the gang the father had encountered on the road. Panicked, he tries to get his son out quickly, but the gang returns to the house. He hides with his son in the bathroom. Fearing they will be caught, he points the revolver at his son, knowing that an honorable end is better than being a prisoner of criminals. As he feared, a gang member approaches the bathroom, but a noise from the basement distracts him. The gang goes to investigate and finds the prisoners trying to escape. In the ensuing chaos, the father seizes the chance to escape with his son before anyone sees them. Another day passes as the father hurries south. They find abandoned houses, one of which is the home where he grew up. He searches for supplies while the son plays with his toys outside. A few minutes later, the son starts drawing on paper, and the father falls asleep on the sofa. Soon after, the son sees another boy, slightly older, hiding in a house. He runs after him, calling for him to stop. Hearing his son's voice, the father wakes up and asks what he's doing. The son says he found someone his age, but the father insists it's dangerous and drags him away, despite the boy's protests. After hiding from others for so long, the son hoped to find at least one friend to play with, but the father knows it's impossible, and that the only way to survive is to keep moving south. Hours pass as they walk without trusting anyone, and rain begins to fall, forcing them to take shelter under a bridge. Suddenly, the father starts coughing violently, a sign that he is very ill and his condition is worsening. He doesn't know how much time he has left, but he must prepare his son to survive alone in this desolate world. Yet, his hopes are low, and things get worse when they reach a house and find a small corpse in a bedroom, a young boy who died years ago, like so many others after the catastrophe. The father tries to comfort his son, saying he has seen this before and there's nothing to worry about. But as soon as he steps away, he falls to his knees and weeps, wondering if the struggle for survival is still worth it. After a while, he composes himself and calls his son to show him an old piano he found in the house. He starts to play and tells his son that his mother was a very good pianist, though the boy has no memory of her playing. They continue searching the house and find a tunnel hatch in the middle of the field. Using a stone, the father breaks the lock. Inside, they find a small shelter filled with food and even a bed. For the first time in days, they can eat and rest with dignity. After eating, the son prays for the person who left the shelter and food. He asks his father to do the same, and the father, not knowing what to say, simply looks up and says, "Thank you." Because of this discovery, they can survive longer, but the father must ensure no one finds them. So he takes an old mattress from the field and places it over the hatch. Finally, they have dinner together, and the father tucks his son in with his teddy bear. He checks his son's bag and finds many things. He is distracted by his wife's old comb, which reminds him of the happy moments they shared before the disaster. The next day, they explore the house further and find supplies like shampoo and toothpaste. This allows the father to bathe his son and take care of himself after days of running through the woods. This small act brings them closer, and they celebrate another quiet day with a good dinner. The father finds a bottle of wine and pours a glass, but when his son asks to try it, he refuses, saying the boy isn't old enough. Still, the drink reminds him of his past life when everything was fine. A few minutes later, his cough returns. The son asks if he's okay, but the father says nothing to avoid worrying him. After dinner, they go to rest, but they hear strange noises from outside the shelter. Everything goes quiet, but the father feels it's no longer safe to stay hidden there. The son doesn't want to leave, but the father tells him to pack as much as possible. At dawn, they leave the shelter, loading the food into a cart and setting off. A few minutes later, they see an old man walking slowly on the road. As they approach, the old man throws his bag on the ground and begs them not to rob him, saying he has nothing of value. The father realizes the old man is nearly blind, which makes the son feel even more pity. The son offers him food, and although the father isn't fond of the idea, he agrees and gives the man a can of fruit. The old man is not only nearly blind, but wanders aimlessly, wearing shoes made of leather and wood taped to plastic bags. Seeing his condition, the father feels sympathy for the first time in a long while, and invites the old man to join them for dinner that night. The old man accepts and introduces himself as Eli, a 90-year-old traveler who says thieves don't bother him because of his age. They reach the woods, light a fire, and the father prepares food. Despite the old man's condition, the father doesn't fully trust him. As his son goes to sleep, the father keeps his weapon ready. Despite the father's suspicion, Eli is grateful for the help, especially from the son, who was the only one to show him kindness. He says he had a son once, but lost him after the catastrophe and doesn't talk about it anymore. The father asks if, given the circumstances, Ely wishes he were no longer alive. The old man replies that such a path isn't right, because even in dark times there are reasons to live. Another day passes, and the old man leaves, but not before the father and son pack some supplies in his bag. They continue through the woods and find a shack with blood and scattered bones in the yard. It seems to be the hideout of another gang, which soon returns, hunting a woman and her son. Helpless to do anything, the father and son hide in the woods. Suddenly, another earthquake begins, causing trees to fall. They run for their lives and narrowly escape as a large log crashes in front of them. The son is terrified, but the father picks him up, and they search for another hiding place. They reach the ruins of a broken cathedral, and the son soon falls asleep. But in the morning, he is woken by the sound of his father's coughing. His illness is worsening rapidly. He is now coughing up blood. The son is worried, but as before, the father tells him not to worry and to just keep moving. After a few more hours of walking, they reach the coast, finding a dark beach under a polluted sky where the carcasses of sea animals have washed ashore. They camp nearby, but this time the son begins to feel ill, and the father discovers he has a high fever. The father does his best to make his son feel better. The son asks what the father will do if he doesn't survive. The father doesn't want to think about it, but he says that if it happens, he will have no reason to live and will end it all to be with his son. Morning comes, and the father sees a large ship near the shore. He swims out to search for more supplies while the son waits at the camp. The boy falls asleep and doesn't notice a mysterious man with a knife approaching him. A short while later, the father returns with a bag containing a flare gun, only to find the man has stolen all their supplies. Fortunately, he didn't harm the son, who wakes up only after the theft. The father's cough worsens, and he must carry his son as they set out to find the thief. He finds him on the road. The father pulls out his revolver and threatens to shoot, while the thief defends himself with a knife. The son begs his father not to shoot, but the father forces the thief to drop the knife and take off all his clothes. The thief argues that he did it out of hunger, but the father doesn't care and makes him leave everything behind. Later, he takes the cart back and complains to his son that he was careless and the thief could have killed him. But the son criticizes his father's aggression, saying the man just needed help. These words make the father feel guilty, and he goes back to return the clothes, but the man is gone. Still, he leaves the thief's things on the road, along with a can of food. Later, the father and son continue walking and reach a ruined neighborhood. In the middle of the road, the son sees a metal lid with a small beetle on it, which is surprisingly still alive. The insect flies away, and both are amazed to see another living creature after the catastrophe. But suddenly, an arrow flies toward them and hits the father's leg. He quickly hides behind the cart with his son. He realizes the arrow came from a window in the house across the street. He retaliates by firing the flare gun at the window. He then runs into the house and finds a couple living there who shot the arrow thinking he was a gang member. Unfortunately, the flare kills the man, and his wife weeps over his body. Helpless, the father returns to his son and quickly finds another hiding place to remove the arrow from his leg. With great effort, he pulls the arrowhead out with pliers, but his condition only worsens. After bandaging his leg, he continues south with his son, but his illness reaches its limit and he coughs up even more blood. With no strength left to walk, he stops in front of the beach, and the son helps him lie down. He tries to give his father food and water, but the father knows his end is near. He tells his son to keep moving and use everything he has learned on the road. The son doesn't want to see his father go and says they should travel together, but the father tells his son to trust only the good people. Night passes, and the son falls asleep while the father lives his final moments looking up at the sky. In the morning, the son wakes up and calls to his father, but there is no answer. He calls again and again, trying to wake him, but the father passed away in the night. The son weeps over his father's body and sits by him all day, wondering what to do. The next day, the son decides to follow his father's wishes, takes the revolver, and tucks it into his shirt. He walks along the beach when suddenly a stranger with a shotgun approaches him. Fearing it might be another gang member, the son pulls out his gun and aims it at him, but the man says he has no intention of hurting him. The son is still suspicious and asks if he is one of the good people his father told him about. The man says yes and tells the boy to come with him because he and his family are going to a safe place. Seeing no other way, the son agrees, but first, he goes to his father's body to say goodbye, promising to talk to him every day. Finally, the son joins the man, who introduces him to his family, his wife, 2 children, and a dog. The woman explains that she had seen the boy and his father traveling together and wanted to meet them to help. Seeing that he has truly found good people, the son prepares to go with them. Because of his father's love and courage, the son learned that even in a devastated world, there is still reason to believe in human goodness. That's it for today. Hope you enjoyed. Like the video, subscribe to Cinema Recap, hit the bell icon, and let me know your thoughts on the movie in the comments section.